Back to that breaking news in the Randolph crash trial. The truck driver charged in the case has just been acquitted on all counts.
Several of the original charges were dismissed before jurors even got the case. We are joined now by legal analyst Patricia LaFrance, who is a former prosecutor. What is your initial reaction to this? A lot of people may have been surprised by the verdict, Patricia.
Yeah, it was surprising. It came out pretty quickly for the length of trial that it was. However, if you remember, a lot of the issues were whittled down. The main issue was, what caused this crash? Did the defendant cause the crash? And I mean, credit to the jury and the jury foreperson for, most likely when they got in the jury room, they really focused on that issue first and foremost.
So the jury, as you know, deliberated this case for less than 3 hours. So if you can dissect it a bit, where was the defense best able to build that reasonable doubt? And when a judge throws out charges before the jury even gets the case, does that make any difference in their deliberations?
Yeah, I mean, it does, because it removed, particularly in this case, where it removed that element of intoxication from the jury's consideration. So at this point, they had, to go forward just the evidence of what caused the crash without having to consider whether intoxication played a role in it. So when you have, you did have the defense who called witnesses to support the idea that it was not the defendant who caused this crash. And so when they got in there again, that most likely would have been the jury's main focus as to who caused this crash. Was it the defendant or was it somebody else?
Why do you think testimony from fellow motorcyclists, Patricia, who were on the scene and provided compelling witness testimony, did not ultimately assist in a guilty verdict? How much weight did jurors give their accounts?
Well, I think, obviously you can't lose sight of the fact that 7 people tragically lost their lives. But part of the jury's deliberations and part of the instructions should be, they need to decide this case without emotion, without letting their feelings of, what tragically happened to these 7 people, and just to look at the facts. And again, where you have this idea that the defense put on some testimony, particularly one individual who testified that the defendant did not cross the line. I think that may have been played a part. Again, the jury, the prosecutors have an opportunity to speak with the jury after a month has passed after their service. That's something that I would normally do after a verdict, to get their input as to, what happened, what their deliberations were focused on.
And what about this? Does this now represent the end of legal trouble for Zuchowski, given there were those supplemental issues out of Massachusetts concerning his commercial driving license and a drunk driving arrest in Connecticut earlier that year? What happens to all of that?
Well, it all depends on, what the standard of proof is. Certainly his legal troubles here in terms of criminal case, because of obviously double jeopardy, he cannot be tried again. The state has no opportunity to appeal this verdict. So up in New Hampshire, at least with respect to any criminal legal consequences, he should be facing no more legal trouble in New Hampshire. However, in Massachusetts, when you're looking at licenses, when you're looking at other legal situations, if the standard of proof is different, then there could still potentially be some legal consequences for him.
So this entire process for Zuchowski took 3 years. He was in jail waiting for the trial all this time. Is there any kind of claim he can make against the state? Does he have any kind of legal recourse now with the ball in his court?
Well, I mean, if you look at the bail that was set and what happens is he was held on bail. He was indicted by a grand jury. Our legal system provides that, in certain situations, bail is not granted. He was charged with very serious crimes involving the death of 7 people. You never know what civil case somebody could try to bring. However, it's very difficult to bring these types of cases against prosecutors, against the police. If it turns out ultimately that the jury came back with a not guilty. There may be some federal, civil rights violations. Sometimes you see that happen, but it would have to be particularly egregious conduct on the part of the police or the prosecutors. And in this case, again, you did have witnesses who testified that they saw him driving erratically. You did certainly have probable cause and grand jury indictments that returned several indictments against him. So it would be difficult to show that the police or prosecutors acted with disregard for his civil rights.
Legal analyst Patricia LaFrance, you were very patient and thorough with all of our questions. We really appreciate your time this afternoon. Thank you.